Minutes past 1. Now the franchise will be lowered. Yes, the voting age plunging down to 16, giving those 17 and 16-year-olds a right to vote in elections.
Yes, apparently this is all to modernise UK democracy, make it fairer for everyone, but it's being described as a seismic shift to ensure, of course, that young people's voices are heard.
Of course, we don't hear anything any
Never hear
other
them.
way. But should teenagers, or indeed children, have a say at the ballot box?
Well, we're going to debate this. Political commentator and podcaster Sunil Sharma and Labour councillor for Lambeth, Martin Abrams. Martin, I'll let you start first. Make the case for this. Why on earth would we give children the vote?
Well, good afternoon. I mean, there's been a democratic deficit in England for quite a number of years now because obviously Scotland and Wales have had votes at 16, and what research has found in those nations is that democratic participation has increased significantly. There's research that shows that voters at 16 will then go on to carry on and be much more participatory in elections in the future. So this is about just extending that.
Well, hang on. So there's evidence to show that if you're given the vote at 16, you're more likely to then vote age 25.
Yeah. Yeah,
well, surely someone who votes at 16 obviously is going to be someone who's keen and therefore is more likely to vote at 25. I don't know if it therefore follows that giving the vote to 16-year-olds improves the rate at which people vote later on. Do you see what I mean?
No, it does. It does, because voters in the independence referendum in 2014 were given the vote at 16. 95% of the 16 and 17-year-olds that voted in that election said they would then go on to vote again. So there's empirical research out there,
they'd already voted.
that shows this, that proves this.
Quite hard to separate that, of course, from the political culture in Scotland that was a massive national question that politicised not just young people, but also very old people and people in between too. Should we throw this to Sunil Sharma now? What do you make of this?
Yeah, I think the move to allow 16-year-olds to vote is purely political. There's lots of reasons. We can go through the legal, biological, psychological, why 16-year-olds are not considered adults legally. You can't buy alcohol, you can't buy cigarettes, you can't buy a lottery ticket, you can't get a full driving license, you can't get a credit card, you have restrictions on work, you can't get married, you can't purchase a knife, you can't get a tattoo without parental consent, you can't purchase an adult-rated film or video game, you can't be tried as an adult in criminal court, you can't open a bank account with overdraft or credit limits, you can't hold a full adult passport. So the list just goes on and I think that the reality is it's purely political. We know amongst adults that this current Labour government is one of the most hated governments in modern history in the UK. I think what they're thinking maybe is by lowering the age, they can get a new pool of voters. But I think the reality is they could lower it down to 10 years old. This government is deeply, deeply unpopular.
Well, let's put that list to Martin, because you just told us a long list of things that you can't do until you're 18. Martin, if you were consistent, surely you'd argue that all of those things should be free for 16-year-olds to do.
Well, I'm not sure the list that was read out was factually correct, so I'm not going to provide full comment on.
Oh, come on. OK, let's choose. Let's choose one. You can't actively participate in a war zone, for example. You can't buy alcohol legally. You can't buy cigarettes legally.
You can join the army at 16.
Yes, but you can't actively participate in a war zone.
And only with parental consent. I mean, you're not being an independent.
You're still a child.
In 2008, there was a law that came in that raised the school leaving age to 18. You have to be in some sort of training or at school until you're 18. Isn't this a bit backwards? I mean, maybe 30 years ago, your arguments would have made a lot more sense in terms of what we considered 16-year-olds to be.
I think it's clear why people who tend to lean rightward in their political preferences are against this. And that's because younger people tend to vote for more progressive parties, progressive policies. But let's be clear here. Younger people...
By progressive, do you mean left-wing?
Please let me finish.
Do you mean left-wing when you say progressive? I'm asking
younger
you.
people are being repeatedly screwed over by successive governments. The economy is lurching from economic crisis to another. There's job insecurity. Young people have got massive student debt. They've got zero chance of getting on the housing ladder. There's climate breakdown, and there's a reason why governments don't implement policies that favour older people, that favour younger people, because older people are the ones that tend to vote in far greater numbers than younger people. Votes at 16 would help rebalance that, and that would basically create a political culture where governments would implement policies that favour younger people.
If it was genuinely about turnout,
desperately in need of that.
That's an argument not about the extension of the franchise. That's an argument about the turnout of various cohorts. It's not that there are more people.
I've already explained, Tom, that if you encourage younger people to vote, then that increases turnout and voter participation.
Yeah, but we're not convinced by that, Martin. We're not convinced, but I will look into what you said. I will look into it and examine the evidence there, because I think perhaps it hasn't been around for long enough to be able to even say that. Sunil, I'll put a last point to you, because we're running out of time. The right are just worried about this because young people won't vote for them.
No, I don't think that's the case. And I think we should worry about, I see this almost as a direct threat to democracy. You see a government that's in power right now that's deeply unpopular, and they're bending the laws of our democracy to do something that they think will benefit them. That's the pure reason they're doing this. They're doing this because there's no logical science that actually supports this decision other than desperation for votes. You look at the psychological impact and biological reasons why 16-year-olds aren't considered as adults. And there's more than enough evidence there on why they should not be voting. There's examples of why we said the prefrontal cortex is still developing. We could list the biological, psychological...
Well, apparently that's developing till 25, so perhaps we should push the voting age upwards. Sunil Sharma, thank you very much. Martin Abrams, really appreciate your point of view as well.